So I am kind of like, I try to be as positive as possible on this channel. I try to do it with whatever I am talking about, even if it's like the dirt worst. But sometimes you've just got to call out some bullshit. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Hugh McQuaid, and today we are talking about WWE 2K24. I have not spoken about WWE 2K24 in a long old time, but we are on the eve. In fact, today, the Pat MacAfee DLC is dropping, and I have some thoughts. We're going to have a little bit of a debate on here. Is this DLC pack the worst DLC pack in WWE history? It's a big old debate, but it is something that we're going to dive into in just a moment. But before I do, please subscribe, please like this video, please comment your thoughts down below, and I'll try and reply to every single one of them as we dive into this. So, like I said, we are here. The Pat MacAfee DLC pack is coming. Now, when this pack was announced as part of the season pass for WWE, I think a few eyebrows were raised, a few sort of squinty faces. We were a bit like, I don't know how I feel about this. Having an entire pack based around the Pat MacAfee show. The Pat MacAfee show, which hands up, this might surprise you, I have never watched an episode of the Pat MacAfee show. I have never seen a single frame of the Pat MacAfee show, I don't think, unless it's been highlighted in a video package on WWE programming. No interest, not something I'd actively look for, and that's how I feel about the Pat MacAfee show. But in the pack as a whole, I will dive into who is in the pack as I just adjust my screen for a moment. You will have AJ Hawk, Boston Connor, Darius Butler, Pat MacAfee, and Ty Schmidt. I know one of these people, and that is Pat MacAfee. Now, why do I have some issues with this pack? I have some issues because this is so, to me at least, and maybe this is just sort of the non-US audience, this is so unbelievably niche that it doesn't feel worthwhile. So, hands up again, I am recording this before I have played the DLC. Now, with that being said, you might be like, how can you judge DLC when you've not played it? Spoiler alert, WWE 2K DLCs all play the same. They are just characters, they are new characters, and in this case, you are getting 5 non-wrestlers. I know you can make the argument for Pat MacAfee, but at the end of the day, he's not, he's a commentator. So, that begs the question, is it the worst DLC of all time? And there's a few reasons I can argue for this. I think the main one being is that it's just so niche. It is so, like, in what world, no offense to any of the people here, I'm sure they're all lovely guys, but in what world am I going to play a match as AJ Hawk over CM Punk? Or like Boston Connor over Jade Cargill. Like, what they're not featured in WWE, so I don't understand why I would go out of my way to play as almost any of these people. Like, in what universe will that make sense? I get you're also getting the addition of an American football, I do believe, as like a weapon. I've seen a screenshot of that. But that doesn't make up for including 5, and I might even be wrong here. This shows how much I've done my research. I'm presuming they're all American football players. Like, I think they're all American football players. I could be wrong. They could be baseball players. They could be rugby players, for all I know. But adding an American football in doesn't justify 5 characters that people might, like, forked out the season pass for, like myself, and be slightly underwhelmed by having people that I'm never going to play as. I'm never going to select any of them for a tournament, for my universe, for my GM. It's just not going to happen. Now, I get there is a part of the fan base I believe, who may be into this, but I've only seen sort of overwhelming negativity towards this. And in the annals of history, going back to other WWE games, starting from 2017 is when I started my little bit of research I did into this video before you watched it. The DLC packs were pretty good. Like, there weren't really many duds. You obviously had the likes of Aleister Black, you had Lars Sullivan, you had Candice LeRae as a DLC pack, I think in 2019. Like, all the people that you were getting were either legends or they were NXT. They were like developmental who'd not been brought up into the game. And I think what's really pissing people off about this DLC pack is you could have had Obafemi, Sol Ruka, the Joe Hendry, if you really planned that far ahead. You could have had so many people, NXT or Legends-wise, to take these spots that it feels a bit, what's like the grown-up version of like a Nepo baby. It just feels like Pat MacAfee was like, I want me and my friends in the game. And WWE and 2K said yes, regardless of what the fans are going to think. It seems like that's the way it went. If this pack, right, you want to call it the Pat MacAfee and Friends pack, there's an easy way around this that I think people would have accepted. It's 5 people. You have Pat MacAfee, Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Vic Joseph, and Samantha Irvin as playable characters. I don't think people would have had a problem with that. You know, it's like an announced team crew. Some of them have wrestled before. I don't think people would have had an issue with that, you know? I think that would have been perfectly fine because they're involved in the wrestling world. They're involved in the, you know, the fabric of WWE. If you've never watched the Pat MacAfee show, you have no idea who these people are. And I think that does a disservice to the DLC, and I think it's a little bit icky on the whole. So I think overall, sort of analysing the DLC pack as a whole, in which by analyse, I can see 5 guys. Like, to me, it doesn't hit. It doesn't hit when the list of people who could be in the game is so much bigger. And I hope that the backlash to this is an eye-opener for 2K to not just, you know, give people DLC packs that they want. Miko Satomura is another one. She's retiring this year. She could have been in this DLC, and I think it's a crying shame that she's not. But I think that this outreach, this sort of uproar, will hopefully get execs at 2K to like shake themselves up a bit and really put some more thought and effort into the DLC. Because while I think it's fun, you do get new characters, maybe chuck in a new mode, maybe chuck in like, I don't know, new arenas or something like that. Because there's more that could be added rather than just playable characters, in my opinion. And I think that's the way DLC and sports DLC in particular is a little bit underwhelming when it comes to sort of additions. Like, I'm fine for the new people, but could these have not been put in for a patch? Could we not have got a new showcase mode or something like that? I feel like there's more that could be added rather than the microtransaction-y My Faction stuff and a pack that seems to appease 5 people. That's what I feel on the Pat MacAfee pack. And I think to answer the question of this video, is it the worst WWE DLC pack of all time? I'm going to go with yes. I actually think it probably is in terms of the people included and the people that have been left out. And that is what really makes me veer on the side of yes, this is the worst DLC pack of all time. And that answers that question. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you feel likewise and give 2K a little bit of a kick up the arse. Know what I mean? So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and I'll try and reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support and have a nice day.